one of the most exciting things that we're doing this year in the Ignite conference, you walk into a room or an event space, you're able to know that you're in a space where people can understand the things you're talking about. They're in the same industry as you. You're not explaining what your interests or passions are. You're finding people that have those same. Then you have those opportunities to learn.
We really do have an incredible city of marketers. If you look at the roster of who's going to be in attendance, you're getting to essentially rub shoulders in person with people from Ford Motor Company, Fifth Third Bank, Kroger, Chase Bank, being able to share their expertise in a time where marketing and customer experience is being completely rewritten.
Welcome to Marketing by Design, where you and I learn from our favorite founders and marketers on how they built their success and told their stories by design. I'm your host, Andy Milligan, founder of MMG Design. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another powerful episode of Marketing by Design. You just heard from Nick Brunker and Jessica Guido of the AMA Cincinnati chapter. And this episode is going to be an inside discussion and behind-the-scenes look at AMA Ignite 2025. This Friday, September 26th, there is nowhere else you are going to want to be other than Ignite. Lucky enough, for special friends of the podcast, we have a discount code for 20% off, which is absolutely wild. We're going to be rubbing shoulders with some of the higher ups at Kroger, Chase Bank, Wendy's, Ford, and more. I have been so open in the past, if you guys follow me on LinkedIn, on how important in-person experiences are going to be for our future in marketing. And that's why I'm so proud to be affiliated with the Ignite campaign for this year. All the details related to the schedule and your special listener code will be embedded below. Check out amaignite.com. Without further ado, let's get to the discussion. This is Nick Brunker of VML, Jessica Guido of St. Elizabeth Healthcare, and everything Ignite 2025 by design. Start with Jessica. Just give like a short, long version of who you are, what you do, your affiliation with Cincy, and what you're excited about in the marketing sphere coming up.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jessica Guido. I'm the Senior Digital Experience Coordinator with St. Elizabeth Healthcare, and I've been working in digital marketing and communications for over 10 years in retail, higher education, and now healthcare for the past 5 years. And I've been very excited to have joined the American Marketing Association Cincinnati chapter as a member of the steering committee for this Ignite conference this year. I started with getting to know the marketing community here in Cincinnati by joining the mentorship program where I was a mentee and I was given a mentor and learned a lot during that year working with my mentor and discovering, new ways to navigate career and focus and learning about marketing insights. And so that was a great experience. And I wanted to continue helping with AMA. And so that brings us here to Ignite. And I'm very excited to show everyone what we've put together and have everyone come out to the conference and learn and enjoy.
Yeah, I'm excited. You guys have put together a really special chapter. We're from Columbus, and I'm still making my way down south to come and take notes from some of the stuff that you guys are doing. So we're very much referencing a lot of the structure of your guys' events. And like I said, I'm looking forward to being a fly on the wall and meeting a lot of new people when we get down there.
Nick Brunker here from VML, and it's an agency that is part of a much larger contingent called WPP. For those that aren't in the marketing agency space, we have about 30,000 people globally, and here in Cincinnati, we have about 55 people and growing, and we're always looking for more great talent. The span of brand experience, customer experience, and commerce all stitched together is what we do on a day-to-day basis, everything from strategy to creative to development and all of those points in between. So we're very, very fortunate to have as many great client partners as we do. And, as we were doing a lot of the conversation starters around the AMA water cooler. Got involved with the steering committee there and here as well, talking about how can we be more active player in our local market. And Gina, who helped kind of spearhead the whole thing, got us involved and very excited to do a small part here in what is going to be an amazing day and a half or so with the Ignite conference coming up at the end of September. So we're really looking forward to it and just happy to be part of it.
Hey, real quick, I just want to read a message that our partner Andrew Holst over at Huckle Insights submitted to us recently. This has absolutely been a home run. We have a much clearer message, a cleaner website, and a high-tech feel that reinforces confidence in those testing our platform. Andy at MMG was well organized, no surprises, and a pleasure to work with. That's the value of having a true website partner on your team, and that's the value of removing yourself, the fish, from the water that is your company and your marketing. We're currently doing homepage breakdowns, 3 to 4 minute video going over your homepage, assessing your messaging, 2 to 3 low lift design changes that you can make to improve your conversions. We definitely won't be doing these too long as they are very time intensive, but if you're a product marketer or a founder and you want some clarity on your homepage, on the design of your website, be sure to book one of those below. Like I said, we definitely won't be doing them long. If you guys don't know me, I am Andy. I'm the founder here at MMG Design, and I invite you to take me up on this. Without further ado, back to the podcast. Gina has one of those special people I think that's very good at getting sort of a rallying group of people behind her. All the people that I've met, she's very good at encouraging conversation, getting people behind her to kind of execute her vision. Tell me about some of the first time you guys met Gina, how long you guys have been in touch, and some of the stuff that you've loved working with her on.
Yeah, I think maybe the first time I met Gina, I think has to be through one of the AMA events that I attended. She was a lovely host of one of the meetup events where perhaps doing education-based learning in small groups. And she was just so welcoming and so encouraging of all the faces, new and not so new, in the room. And then I remember meeting her again at last year's Ignite. Was fortunate to bring some members of the team here at St. Elizabeth with us. And, I went up to her and said, "Hi, I don't know if you remember me, but hello again. And this was a great conference." And she was like, "You know what? I do remember meeting you. And I think, perhaps if you'd like to help in the future, let me know." And so she kind of got me more interested in other AMA activities. Like I said, I did the mentorship program, which was very pivotal. And then when she called me up to help with the steering committee, it was kind of a no-brainer. Like, yeah, let's help. I really enjoyed it last year and I'm looking forward to what we're doing this year.
Awesome. Nick, do you have any magical moments with the Sense chapter or from meeting Gina for the first time, and how did you guys get in touch?
I think back to when I was involved in one of the CX conferences, the Ignite conferences. I don't know, it was a couple years ago now, where I had a chance to speak in front of the group, and Gina obviously was heavily involved in that planning as well. So I got to know Gina then, and it was very clear, not only is she really passionate about the space, but passionate about the community and getting people involved who are in the community, doing things like this, talking about this subject, and spreading the love, so to speak, in our marketing community. Because I think Cincinnati is a very unique community. I think Columbus is a lot of the same. You're probably feeling the same way in Columbus, but I do feel like our two cities, but definitely in Cincy, you have a lot of really, really strong marketing talent across multiple industry verticals. And I think when you look at all of the the big cities that you would typically hear about advertising and marketing, your LAs, your New Yorks, Chicagos, and others. Even Austin obviously gets quite a bit of pub with South by Southwest. Cincinnati oftentimes doesn't, I think, sit on the front of somebody's brain when it talks about, okay, what are the cities in marketing that do it really well and have the best talent? And I think what Gina has done really well has been getting people from in our community who are in this space talking. And obviously the AMA chapter here locally is a big part of that. But it does take, a group of people who will take time out of their, I would imagine, very busy days to make space and time for marketing pros like ourselves, and hopefully those that will be with us at the conference, to be together, learn from each other, network and connect, and just, share the love, because we really do have an incredible city of marketers. And, Jean is a big part of that. So I think back to that first meeting with her and saying, man, she's got it together. And I think the people that she brings around her, they care about this space and they care about this community. And so that's what I probably remember most about meeting her the first time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was really good. I think, and I can say firsthand, being in the room at places where conferences, where these conversations are happening, is a really big, part of not just what makes the AMA membership, board membership especially, worth it, but like you said, these conversations are everything. Being around like a curated group of people who are not just doing like similar things, but they're also learning and they're very open about what they're learning. And that's one of the things I'm really excited about for Ignite, is just a lot of people who have similar goals, similar priorities, or in the same space. And that's something that you can't get online. So I made a LinkedIn post recently about being very bullish on in-person experiences, about being in the room for actual conversations. I think Cincinnati does a great job of, prioritizing that and making it front and center. But tell me about some of the events, and maybe not specifically in Cincinnati, but some of the events that you guys have had experiences with, given your time through the AMA, you've been through the mentorship program, Jessica, you have, that have really stuck out to you, and maybe what you hope to see from those when it comes to Ignite this year. Because I look at the agenda, I look at everything, and I'm super excited. What are some of the best experiences you've had with AMA in the past, and how do you think those are going to realize themselves when it comes to Ignite this year?
That's a fantastic question. I think one of the key themes that runs through all of AMA events is that sense of community. You walk into a room or an event space or wherever, sometimes it's just a restaurant, and you're able to know that you're in a space where people can understand the things you're talking about. They're in the same industry as you, so you've kind of have broken that barrier. You're not overly explaining, what it is that you do and what your interests or passions are. You're finding people that have those same. And then you have those opportunities to learn. One of the most exciting things that we're doing this year in the Ignite conference is we're doing these events, bonus events, we're calling them, on Thursday, the 25th of September. And we're conducting a workshop about the customer journey, as well as having an opening reception. And that is going to be a great time to meet the speakers, the board members, the partners, and again, give you that feeling that I think most of our AMA chapter events have, where you're actually feeling like, oh, I'm not just going to sit and be kind of talked to. I'm going to interact with people. I'm going to have that authentic communication with marketers in my field, in my area. And I think that's very valuable.
Mm-hmm. Nick, how about you?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think it's so funny coming out of COVID, which obviously we're a handful of years outside of that now. It's feeling great to get back into community with one another. And I think over time, I think we've all adapted to this hybrid work environment. But I think for these conferences, especially, getting hands-on, being able to actually kind of get in the weeds with each other on, the topics at hand. Certainly, we're going to have plenty of time on Friday on the main event day to do keynotes and panels and all the traditional. I'm going to absorb information and learn from these amazing marketers that are going to be there that day, and in the CX and AI fields. But the event that Jessica was talking about the night before, I think, is really going to be one where you get to be kind of in the mix with everybody. It's not just a sit and receive. It's actually a stand up and do. So I don't want to give too much away, other than to say, the actual event itself on Thursday is going to be very immersive, very interactive. And I think that's what I'm really excited about, and have been excited about for a conference like this, but then the ones that I engage with, because I do feel like we're in a time now where being able to get together with other humans, literally, and be able to share ideas and be in a space where not only do we understand each other from like a nomenclature standpoint, but they're probably, whether they're in the healthcare industry like Jessica is, or in the advertising marketing industry, working across multiple different industry verticals, a lot of the same problems exist. A lot of the same challenges exist, no matter what somebody you meet at this conference does for a living on a day-to-day basis. Similar challenges, maybe just different applications for those challenges. So I find, and what I've really enjoyed is being able to hear how other professionals locally in the same space are solving very similar types of challenges, even though they're not in the same industry that I am, or serving the same industry vertical that I am on a day-to-day basis. So I think that's what is going to make Thursday really interesting to start the whole thing off. Obviously, meeting people is going to be great as well, but then also to just be able to hear different perspectives and approaches to how they're solving challenges, because we're all in a lot of the same spaces, even though our verticals might be different.
Yeah, that's awesome, too. That's so good. You see how things are sometimes overhyped in terms of what the actual substance value of it is, especially when it comes to events. And like, we're both in AMA, we're both under the pressure of really delivering, but you guys have to find this fine line of having actual audience value and really marketing it well so you're not over delivering, but then backing it up when people do get there. Tell me, if I'm looking at the event online, if I'm looking through the landing page, I'm considering, is this something that's worth going to?
Well, I think what makes this conference different is it's not just necessarily talking about the newness in, marketing efforts such as automation or AI. It's talking about how you can incorporate that in the authentic way for your business. It's talking about how it takes, you know, those new things that are coming up that, might be kind of buzzwords now or might be just on the periphery of somebody's um, knowledge set to learn, and saying, we're not just giving you how to use this. We're saying, how can this actually work for you in an authentic way that feels like what the goals you're trying to achieve, the brand that you are, and enhance it in some way. This is not a how-to guide necessarily. This is more expanded than that. And then it's saying, okay, also let's get in this room with other marketers like you, and let's learn from one another. Let's learn about how storytelling, gets set apart in this day and age of, quick automation that can produce things, faster than ever. How do we really gain the trust and the transparency that we need to attract the consumer to whatever it is that we might be promoting? And I think that's what makes it a little bit different than just kind of a webinar that you can sit at home on, or just something that you're kind of listening to passively, or getting like a how-to list to implementation. This is really about getting back to the core of what it is that your brand is about and what you're trying to achieve.
And I think too, the
Nick,
other thing to
go
build
ahead.
on Jessica's point is that, and it ties back into what I'd said earlier, we are in such a great community of marketers, and we are fortunate enough to have some extremely big brands and also have connections to some of the biggest brands in the world, whether they are located here or whether they serve brands that are global but have ties to Cincinnati. And obviously VML being a part of that is just one example. But if you look at the roster of who's going to be in attendance, I think everything Jessica said, spot on, plus the fact that you're getting to essentially rub shoulders in person with people from Ford Motor Company, Fifth Third Bank, Kroger, Chase Bank. I mean, I'm not going to try to make it a who's who, but I mean, you talk about people that are in our community or connected to our community in some way, being able to share their expertise in an area and a time where marketing and customer experience is being completely rewritten in terms of the playbooks and how things get done. And so I think we're all, especially in the age of AI, trying to figure it all out together. And so what I find that this conference, especially uniquely in the year that we're in, with the time in which we live with AI starting to evolve, being able to tap into some of those brands I just mentioned and their leaders. How are they handling this disruption? How are they handling the experience building and the marketing? I think, frankly, it's one of the more fascinating times to be in our industry and to be able to hear from some of those leaders. Wendy's is going to have some representation too, if I didn't mention them before. It's one you're not going to want to miss. And I'm certainly thrilled and excited to be able to be in the room to hear from them, because I think, like anybody, we're all trying to figure this out together. And the beauty of it is we've got brands that are as big as the ones I just mentioned, and then also those that are trying to figure it out from a startup perspective. We're all in the same boat. So what better place to learn from some of these great experts than at the CX Ignite conference coming up?
Yeah, man, Nick, I'm gonna have to convince you to be a host on the show because you're so well spoken. This is our first time getting to have a long form conversation. So my new plan is just to kind of like pass the mic to you and let you talk more. So Nick, one thing I did want to double click on for you is this idea of like customer experience. I don't think the term CX, I don't think is as like I come from design, so I think like UX, UI, like those like two-letter analogies.
Mhm.
CX to me is not as commonplace of nomenclature as I think as a lot of other like analogies kind of in the marketing space. Given your experience at VML, I know you're certified in this as well. What can you say if you had to explain like the elevator pitch for what customer experience is and why it's important? What's this conference going to do to really bring that to life?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for CX professionals in customer experience, it's about proving the promise of the brand. The experience is the brand in a lot of ways. And so the best analogy I've heard, or one of the best analogies I've heard, is the brand experience makes the promise. The customer experience proves the promise. And when it comes to how all that comes together, it's not like it's an individual department or even a practice area within a company, although that has been, at least over the last handful of years, how a lot of organizations have tackled it. What I think is interesting is to kind of build on your question of, well, where does UX fit in? Where does creative or MarTech or all that? It all fits in to customer experience, because the experience that a customer has is going to ultimately determine whether or not they're going to choose you again and again. It goes back to the theory of jobs to be done. And if your customer experience is built around jobs theory, made famous by Clayton Christensen, if you do a good job serving the customer's needs, then they're going to hire you again for whatever reason that they are hiring you when they come across that need or that job to be done again. And I think for us in this industry right now, where AI is literally putting machine learning on top of everything we're doing, I think for us CX pros, it's how do we apply this amazing, powerful technology while also still being able to tap directly into the human need. What do they need? Why do they need it? What are the experiences that we need to help give them and provide them, and do it in a way that's going to resonate? And that's where I think, you look all the way across all the different practice areas that people at VML have. I'm sure across different, marketing organizations, they're trying to figure out, how do we do this at speed and at scale at a time where everything's changing, where the playbooks that we've been using for 20 or 25 years are no longer the same playbook? And I think that to me is really fascinating. But you bring it all back to the fact the experience is the brand, and we're here to serve people. And if you follow those two things, usually success and hopefully profits, if you're in a for-profit business, are going to follow.
Mm-hmm. Jessica, I kind of want to tailor this question to you too. Being in the healthcare space, we have a bit of a portfolio in that space as well. How important is the customer experience in an industry like healthcare? I imagine very, but you have a lot of experience kind of all across marketing as well. So I'm interested to hear like how your niche in healthcare kind of helps you and your approach to customer experience, given your experience and background in that field.
Yeah, when I came to healthcare, it was really fascinating how there are a lot of things in place when you think at the clinical level for patient experience, making sure the needs are met, that they're listened to, and that we have the resources to take care of them to the best of our ability, of course, provide compassionate and competent care, but also we're evolving, right? Everybody is used to some of the new customer experience changes that have happened in the last 10, 20 years, especially from like the retail sector, which is something I used to do. And so I would see, oh, people are kind of asking for that in healthcare as well. What are those pathways that make it easy to find care and to, get connected with care quickly and efficiently, and get the right paths to care. And so that's something that I know that we're talking about every day, and I'm sure most healthcare organizations are. And so we're learning so much from experiences like Ignite, working with other industries to understand how we can better help the patient at all levels, not just, in clinical offices, but of course, when they hit the website, when they're searching, when they find our social media accounts, when they find, something, mailings or billboards, whatever it is, to understand like there's care for you and there's care in your community, and this is how you navigate that care.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a really good answer. I've seen a lot of the same as well. And I think, especially being in an audience like this, like we kind of talked about in the beginning, having the different perspectives of different industries is really the value add that you can't get from a lot of other professional organizations like the AMA. And that's why I'll always shout their proofs from, or their praises from the mountaintops. If you guys could have to, again, we're not discriminating here, like that's not what we do. But if you guys had to pick one session that maybe you are most excited about, not because maybe you think it's going to be the best, but just maybe for some of the conversations that could go on or how it's differentiated, maybe some of the packaging is like, ooh, I'm really looking forward to that. Could you guys point to one that maybe, people should tune into or that really has your interest piqued? Nick, we'll start with you.
Man, that is a really tough question. You're putting me on the spot with
I
all
know,
the
yeah.
great people we're going to have at the conference on the 26th. By the way, shameless plug, igniteama.com. You can see the entire agenda and dig into it. But I would say the closing panel to me is going to be one of the more interesting ones of the entire day. I think that it's all going to be interesting, but that one in particular, I'm excited about. It has to do, and the title of it is From Digital to Human and Back, Building Brand Experiences That Vibe. Obviously, vibe marketing being the theme of the conference, but that one's going to be featuring a good team member at Ford Motor Company, the Senior Director of Product for Web and E-commerce at Ford, Scott Kelly, the Better Business Bureau's VP of Brand Engagement, Kate Olberding, excuse me. And then we have a guy named Akil who's going to be with us from Wendy's, all talking about the brand building and experience building in an era of AI. And that's going to be moderated by our Chief Experience Strategy Officer, Ben. And to imagine just those three brands, Wendy's, Ford, and the Better Business Bureau, I don't know what a better way to close out the day is going to be. So I'm fascinated to hear how they've navigated the challenges of building brands in this era. At some extremely both well-known brands and companies, but also ones that are multi-matrixed and significant in terms of their size and footprint. So I'm, long-winded answer, but very excited about that one.
Jessica, I gave you some time to think. So which one, if you had to point to one, what would it be?
So again, I agree. I'm looking forward to all of the sessions because I do think we have worked really hard to create very dynamic sessions for all of the topics. But if I had to point to one, as a healthcare marketer, I'm very excited about the storytelling in the age of AI, making prospecting and pipelines personal. I think that one is really going to kind of help us find the human story and all the noise and cut through the clutter and keep us focused on that brand storytelling, innovative telling of story about our brands. And so we're going to hear from some amazing panelists in that one as well. We have Laura Dennison from Paycor, or Paycheck as it's now called, Dr. Hansey from University of Cincinnati, Joseph Lewin from the founder of Sell Through Social, moderated by Cortland Booker, who is a dynamic speaker and sales manager at Spectrum Reach. So
that's my guy. Yeah.
Yes, I figured you would know. Yes. So, for me personally, I'm very much looking forward to that session and sitting and hearing about how we can amplify our storytelling efforts.
Awesome. Yeah. I think it's a really good place to land the plane. Like I said, we're a little bit up north, but I'm always taking notes on some of the stuff you guys are doing. I see nothing but up and to the right, for Cincinnati, AMA, getting to know more of you guys, and obviously Gina is our mutual connection, but um, this is something I'm looking forward to, and I encourage anyone that's in the marketing space, in between, or even triangulate our locations between Columbus and Cincinnati. We're going to bring down as many people as we can and really get the word out. If people want to get in touch with you guys and they like what they're hearing today, like I said, Nick's going to be the new host starting on the next episode, so you're going to get to know him a little bit.
Congratulations.
Yeah, welcome. But if people want to continue the conversation, get in touch, shoot you a message, where should they go and find you guys?
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn, Jessica-Faye-Guido. And I'm there. You can find me off the speaker list at the Ignite AMA website. So always able to be found on LinkedIn and message, follow, join, shout out, invite me to things that you're doing because I love learning. So yeah.
Love it. And same here, pretty much all across the socials at Nick Brunker on X and on LinkedIn. And you can also join us on vml.com if you're interested in learning more about our agency. But I think most importantly, for those that are listening and do not have tickets yet, jump on AMA, Ignite AMA.com, and you'll be able to get your tickets because it's really going to be a great event and one you're not going to want to miss.
Thank you guys for tuning in to entry 116 of Marketing by Design. I look forward to keeping in touch with you guys next week. We upload every Tuesday at 8 a.m. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Andy. I'm the founder here at MMG Design. We help startups and marketing teams quickly explore a new design and UI direction for their website so they can convert better. If that's something you're interested in, I'd love to have a conversation. Connect with me over on LinkedIn, and I'd love to continue there. Be sure to check out Nick, Jessica, and everything AMA Cincy. That will all be included below, and we'll see you back next week for another powerful episode of Marketing by Design.